Hello, I thought I'd read you a story in my garden today. I'll just let you have a little look at it. So here I am in my garden, and this is a story called Tad. And Tad looks like he's a little frog, but I'm not sure he starts off as a little frog at the beginning of the story. You might hear the wind around because it's a little bit breezy, but hopefully you'll still hear me read the story. So there we go. Tad was a frog. Well, that's not quite true. She was almost a frog. You can see she's a tiny, tiny little tadpole, and there are lots of tadpoles down by the river and in the ponds at the minute, if you look really carefully. Tad was small, smaller than her tad brothers, smaller than her tad sisters. She's really small. Tad was the smallest, almost a frog, in the whole wide pond. She was so small that she had to wiggle her tail twice as fast as any of the others just to keep up. "Keep up," they would say, "or Big Blub will get you." I don't know who Big Blub is. Tad had never seen Big Blub. Big Blub, they said, was a great big nasty fish. Big Blub swam in the deep, dark, murky part of the pond. He was as old as the mud, they said. He would wait till the sun went in, till all the pond was grey. Then he would glide out from the dark patches and... Gulp! No, Tad did not want to know. She decided to not believe in Big Blub, but just in case she kept to the shallow, sunny parts of the pond, where Big Blub could not get her. And when the sun went in, she carefully hid behind the rocks and plants, in hope that Big Blub would not find her. Can you see her there? Day by day, the tadpoles grew. They grew back legs, then front legs. They grew webbed toes. Their legs grew longer. Their legs grew stronger, stretching their forelegs as wide as they could. They felt like they wanted to climb out of the pond. Can you see how the tadpole grows? The legs, the back and then the front, and then the tail grows and they want to leap out of the pond. They rushed into the shallow water quicker than you or I can blink. Their tails got smaller and smaller until they no longer had tails at all. "We've lost our tails, we've lost our tails," they cheered. Swooshing and wiggling around, all except one. Tad still had a tail. Every night they would find a big leaf and curl up together. But as the nights passed, Tad noticed fewer and fewer tadpoles to curl up with. Oh. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Each night Tad counted her tad brothers and tad sisters. 5, 4, 3. Where had they all gone? She didn't like to think. What is she thinking in this big thought bubble? that there might be Big Blub eating them all up, maybe. Tad played in the shallows with her last tad brothers and her last tad sister. "You can't catch us, Big Blub," her last tad sister called out into the shadows. But soon there was just 2. "It seems there are much fewer of us than before, don't you think?" said Tad to her last tad brother. You see them playing? Just 2 left. And then there was only 1. But she was strong and she was clever and she knew all the best hiding places. Big Blub would never catch her. Oh no! Big Blub! Tad swam faster than she had ever swum before. Then Tad did something she had never done before. She swam up and up and up and up. Big Blub sank back to the bottom of the pond where he belonged, amongst the mud and the ooze, deep, dark and murky. I bet you could make that sound, couldn't you? Tad climbed up onto a rock, her big round eyes blinking at the bright sky. It felt good to be out of the water. "I've lost my tail! I've lost my tail!" she sang. Tad was a frog. She had a funny feeling, a twist in her belly, spreading out to the ends of her toes. She coiled up tight like a spring. And jumped. With all her brothers and sisters. And that is the end of the story. So little Tad was just a little bit smaller than the others. But eventually she lost her tail and ended up having some really strong front legs and really strong back legs. So she could hop and jump like all the other frogs. I like that story. I like the pictures. I like the colours. It's by a man, an author called Benji Davies. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.